Hello devs, it's time for Conference Attendance Tips, the sequel. Now in a previous video, I talked about some very practical tips for getting the most out of an Android or really any other technical conference. We talked about limiting our scope, focusing on just a few key takeaways, trying to meet a few people and build new connections, and then trying to be prepared before the event and stay present during the event so it can be as enjoyable and educational as possible. Now in today's video, I want to dive a little bit more in detail in a few of these areas and look at some more really specific things that can maybe add to the experience but aren't necessarily as crucial. Now I split it up just because if you are a first-time attendee or you haven't attended many, I don't want to get too distracting. But as you start to go into more, I think it's helpful to have more ideas and tips on how to get the most out of an event. That way you can kind of pick and choose what works best for you and hopefully find your ideal flow for attending a conference. So just like in the previous video, I'm going to break this down into things that we can do before, during, and after the event. So again, what can we do beforehand to set ourselves up for success? Well, let's talk a little bit about packing. We want to make sure that we have all the supplies that we're going to need. So make sure that you have your laptop charger if you're bringing a laptop. Bring a cell phone charger or maybe a spare battery or a power brick. It's often hard to find chargers, and if you're going to be on your phone a lot during the event, which often happens, you don't want to run out of battery halfway through the day. Especially once we get into the evening and you might be looking to call a ride share and get from place to place. Also check out the weather beforehand and make sure that you pack accordingly for whatever that weather is. So if it's going to be 100 degrees and humid, you might want to pack a dress or a kilt or shorts, something that's going to not be too hot so that you don't have to stop in the middle of your day and buy a new outfit. That happened to me. If you're going to be taking notes with pen and paper, make sure you have pencils or pens or crayons or markers or whatever else that you're going to need to take your notes so that you don't run out halfway through the event and have no way to keep track of all that really useful information. If you're going to be sharing on social media, beforehand you could set up a template with which to share. You want to make sure that you know what the hashtag is going to be, what the social media accounts are going to be that you're going to want to include. You can have that stuff prepared beforehand to make your life easier during the event. If you're thinking about sharing something like a conference recap in the form of a blog post, you could set that up beforehand as well and have a rough outline, and then during the event you can start to fill that in, which makes the whole process a little bit smoother. If you know a bunch of people are going to be there, or you know of some people that you want to meet, try and reach out to them beforehand. Make a plan of when and where you might meet up and connect. Make events for the evening or maybe an extra day or beforehand. These could be things like grabbing coffee during pre-conference registration or meeting up at the party to discuss a particular tool or library you learned about. A little bit of planning beforehand can go a long ways into making sure that you meet the people and build the community that you're hoping to. So during the event, there is obviously a lot going on. And I think a big key to having a really enjoyable, successful event is to not try and do everything, but to give yourself some space to be in the moment, to enjoy what's going on, and to not put too much pressure on yourself to hit any one goal. So give yourself time to check out the vendors, get some swag, meet people, view some talks. Give yourself time to rest and to find a quiet space if you need that to recharge so that you can be more attentive in upcoming sessions. Be aware of what your needs are and take care of yourself during the event. You're probably going to want to take some form of notes. If you don't, and you can remember your key takeaways without notes, awesome. You can skip this part of the video. If you do want to take notes though, I want to just talk about a few different ways that I've seen people be successful with this. So I've tried pen and paper before, or pencil and paper. A plain text document, markdown documents, Google Keep notes, Google Docs. I've seen others be really successful with beautiful sketch notes, or, and this is something that I've been doing lately, tweeting out your notes. Essentially, instead of writing down your notes in one separate page and then copy them into a tweet, you could tweet your notes directly. It's useful for you, it shares them out with others, it takes out the middle person. That can be another useful scenario. I think the biggest key takeaway is to find what works best for you, what lets you maximize your note-taking and your retention and the ability to act on these once you have left the event, while also minimizing the amount of effort required. Social media is a big opportunity during events like this as well. You can be interacting on social media with other people that are talking about the event. This can be a good way to meet other people at the event and maybe meet them in real life. You can find other people's notes, their sketch notes, their bulleted lists. This can add to your collection of notes to take away from the event. You can learn of different events, whether those are impromptu meetups or after parties, finding additional places to meet new people and grow your community. And the really big one, and I really want to stress this, but is you can also show appreciation on social media. If you attend a really great talk, share your appreciation with that person on Twitter, or mention them in your conference recap blog post, or go and meet them in real life and say thank you and shake their hand. This means so much to speakers, and it really helps foster a sense of community, which is really beneficial. Also, if you think that the event is going well, share your appreciation online with the conference organizers or the sponsors. All those people that come together to make an event what it is really appreciate that, and it helps them when planning future events. Once the event is over, you're probably going to want to catch up on some sleep. But once you've caught up on some sleep, there's a few things that I think can also help get the most out of your conference experience. So I think it's really useful if you can try and put into action immediately some of the things you took away from the event. It'll be fresh in your mind. You'll remember who gave what talk. You might be able to more easily reach out and connect with that person to ask questions. And it shows just that direct value from attending an event to coming back and putting it into practice. I think it can also sometimes be useful to sort of reflect on the event, what you learned, what your takeaways were, and help digest that. A couple good ways of doing that are writing up a conference recap blog post. Maybe you put together a vlog of the event where you share your useful things. Maybe you come back to your hometown and you give a talk at a local meetup and share what you learned as well. All of these can help us think more critically about the event, our experiences, and that can lead to better understanding and giving us a better overall perspective of what we thought of the event. When you get home, stay in touch with the new connections you made. They become great resources for solving problems, they can become great friends, and they can make future events just that much more fun. And lastly, and I'm reiterating here, but again, show your appreciation for the conference organizers, the sponsors, the volunteers, the speakers, anybody involved. Maybe you met someone at the event that wasn't any of those things, but was just really helpful or friendly. Reach out to them, show appreciation for making you feel welcome, connect with them. All of that stuff, again, fosters the feeling of community. It shows the appreciation to those putting on the event, which can be inspiring and motivating. It helps them show that they're on the right track. It also then maybe makes them a little bit more receptive to constructive feedback of what you maybe thought could be improved for future events, which is also very useful for the overall health of the event and the community. So there we have it. There's a bunch more tips for attending a conference and how to get the most out of it. I hope that you got something out of this. Comment down below with your favorite conference tip. Thanks so much for watching, everybody. Until next time.